So hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is MUSK Gaming here with another The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now this video is going to be all about the brand new Assorted Sidearms weapons pack that is coming very soon to The Hunter Call of the Wild. Now I have to say a huge thank you to Expansive Worlds as they allowed me to take part in this early access look at this brand new weapons pack as well as this brand new update. Now one of the things that I want to point out about this new update is the new look for the map. So instead of being sort of a fixed full screen look at the map with the normal borders around the edges, you can now zoom way out and basically move the map around on your screen as well. An interesting choice, as I thought the map screen was absolutely fine beforehand, but yeah, this is something that I noticed really quickly and something that is definitely new. It also seems like you may be able to zoom in a little bit further than before, although I'm not entirely sure on that. But it is very obvious that you can zoom out way further than before and make the map pretty small on your screen, as you can see here. Now, something else that's coming along with this update is that Silver Ridge Peaks has received a full population reset and redistribution. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had a ton of time with this early access, so I haven't been able to explore Silver Ridge Peaks fully, but in the time that I was on the map, there were animals in places where they didn't used to be, and there were new need zone times, so that's definitely an interesting one, and I'll be curious to hear what everyone thinks about that, but just be aware that is another change that has come along with this update. Now, moving on to actually putting these brand new weapons from the Assorted Sidearms pack through their paces. And I'm going to be starting off using the 243 Cuomo. I hope that's the correct pronunciation for it, I'm still unsure, but we're going to start off by actually testing this weapon out. Now, this was the weapon that I was most excited for in this pack, as I could see that this definitely could have some actually good uses, and it's actually performed pretty well. So you can see there we're taking a mouflon at about 200 meters, and as you can see it's going down pretty quickly, and it didn't actually go very far before it dropped. Now I have to say, at 213 meters I was pretty impressed with its performance. You can see there it got through to the left lung, and it really didn't seem to have any problem with bringing this animal down. Now of course this is only a mouflon, so it's not a, really big animal for this to take down, but this is an appropriate animal for the class ranges, and that's what I've tried to do in this video, is to stick to the appropriate animals for the class ranges of the weapons, so things that you're actually going to be looking to take down with them. And I must say the 243 Cuomo has actually really impressed me. I do believe this is a actually useful gun, and it's probably going to be a main loadout addition for me. As you can see, I actually have the Argus scope equipped with this gun, as you can equip all of the normal rifle scopes onto this 243, and that makes it really handy that you can actually do that. And as you will see there, it absolutely flattened this little musk deer, which is exactly what you would expect. Now, something else I just want to mention quickly whilst we're taking a look at this musk deer and how this 243 actually performed is the new harvest screen. So now the harvest screen is actually completely full screen with no borders, and it's really nice. I really like how it looks, but unfortunately it does seem to have a little bit of sort of framiness with the actual animal in the harvest screen, so that's a little bit unfortunate, as I think overall the new harvest screen looks very smart and it's definitely an improvement, so I hope that that's something they can fix and just make it a little bit smoother, like when you're actually looking at the animal. But as you would have expected, that 243 did a perfect job there with taking down that musk deer. Perfect double lung shot, dropped it on the spot. Now, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting clip. So you can see here we're taking a look at a couple of raccoon dogs, and behind them, not very far away, is actually a group of mallards. Now, this circumstance and a few other situations like this have kind of convinced me that the 243 Cuomo must be quieter than the old 243 rifle, because I'm fairly sure that these ducks would have spooked, and there's just been a few other situations pretty much the same as this, where there's been animals close by that I thought would have spooked with the normal rifle that didn't seem to spook with the handgun, so I'll definitely be curious to see if that's sort of the general consensus, that it's quieter overall. So yeah, definitely interesting, but once again, performing absolutely perfectly here. Perfect double lung shot on this raccoon dog, which dropped it cleanly on the spot, which is what you'd expect from the 243 rifle, so once again I was pretty happy with that performance. I then decided to head over to Te Arawara and basically see what I could find for feral goats to test this on. I ended up finding this level 5, and once again we're going to test the 243 Chromo there, and it started to drop pretty quickly. This is about what I'd expect from the usual 243 rifle. It doesn't actually go too far before it ends up dropping, and you can see there we can still just spot it as it goes down. Now, like I said, that's pretty much what I'd expect from the 243 rifle, so once again, really happy with how it actually performed there. Now, I didn't think this guy was going to be a diamond when I actually looked at it. He just doesn't look to have the right horns, and picking it up, it's not a diamond unfortunately, just a gold, but once again another very solid performance from the 243 Chromo. Now unfortunately the shot was a little bit high, but that's on my part. I should have aimed a little bit lower, but got through to that lung no problem, and actually got through there to the vertebrae, which will have helped bring it down a little bit quicker as well. And like I said, I'm just impressed with how this is performing. It seems to have really decent power, and I was worried that this might be underpowered, so very happy to see that it's performing this well. Now, whilst on Te Arawara still looking for more feral goats to see if I could find any other big ones, I spooked a herd of red deer, and there was a little bit of a surprise in there, an albino level 6 red stag. Now, this was really exciting for a couple of reasons. Of course, it's just exciting to find a rare. Had no idea that that was waiting up here in the mountains. I literally came up here to look for feral goats and saw that running away and was like, oh my gosh, an albino. And also, it provides a perfect opportunity to test the brand new 243 Chromo on its max class. This gun is classes 2 to 6, and red deer are class 6, so this is a pretty good opportunity to see what it's like on its max class of animal. And as this beautiful stag stands broadside here, I could see a really good opportunity for a shot, and there I went for it, and it takes a while, but I was pretty confident that should have been a good placement, so I was just hoping to see the health start dropping, and finally the health did actually start to go down. And I managed to keep an eye on him for quite a while as he's dropping. Now, of course, it is a 243. This is going to take it a little while to go down. This is what you'd expect from, you know, the 243 rifle. I've used the 243 on red deer plenty, and this is a perfectly normal thing to see, is them running away for quite a good length of time after being shot with the 243. So exactly what I'd expect, but it was bringing him down, and I was super happy about that. And just a gorgeous looking animal. They look so, so beautiful. That beautiful snow white fur. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous stag. Now, he is uneven, as many rare red deer seem to be, but he's not, like, wildly uneven. It just looks like one of the antlers kind of grew differently to the other. So he's not awful looking in terms of unevenness. But just look at that penetration from that 243. I was actually really impressed by that. At 121 metres, that got through sort of really decently there on that lung. That's pretty far into that lung. I was expecting it to just barely have gotten in, but no, it's got in there a decent amount. Now, of course, I've not hit the shoulder blade or anything that would stop that penetration, but I was actually really impressed with this, and we get an albino red deer. Like I said, I was actually up in this area looking for feral goats, and then when this ran out, it was just like, oh my gosh, a complete surprise, because I wasn't hunting red deer, but it was just so perfect how it worked out, and I'm super happy with this trophy, and really, really happy with how the gun performed as well. So I think that's a win-win situation. Now, moving on to the second weapon we're going to take a look at, which is the 45 Rolston. Now, once again, I got really lucky and found another albino, but this time a different species. This time we're taking a look at an albino axis deer. Now, I was actually hunting axis deer, as I figured these would be a pretty good target for this particular weapon, and when I found this albino, once again, super happy. I was hoping that I could find a decent level 4 or something to test it on, and I ended up finding another gorgeous rare. These guys are so pretty, and I've only ever shot a couple of them, and this is a really nice looking one as well, with basically perfectly even antlers. Just a stunning looking animal, and I was really happy with how the 45 actually performed there. It dropped it super quickly. Now, granted, we were very close to this animal, and this gun is classes 2 to 5, where axis deer are a class 3, so this is a sort of middle of the range for this class, and that's why I figured that axis deer would be a pretty good target for this gun. And what a perfect thing to find whilst actually hunting hunting 4-axis deer. Like I said, I've only ever shot a couple of these, so when I saw this again, it was huge excitement. I just think the albinos are really pretty, and he may only be a level 2, but I just think this is a gorgeous looking animal, and I was so excited that I found one and that I got to take it with one of the brand new weapons. And I actually think the 45 did really, really well here, going through both lungs, liver and stomach. Now, we are using the full metal jacket ammo for this weapon, and for all of the weapons in this video, I am using the ammo with the best penetration stat, as that is what I would use in any weapon in this game. I always go for the higher penetration over the higher expansion. And yeah, just super happy with that. I think the weapon performed really well, and we got a really beautiful trophy from that as well, so really awesome. Now, this next clip is from Quattro Calinus, where I decided that I wanted to go and try and find some aggressive wolves with the 45 and see what it's like as a defense weapon, and this ended up happening. I ended up finding a pack that did go aggressive that actually had a 9 legendary in it. Now, it's probably worth mentioning at this point that pretty much all of my single player maps were mostly unchecked since the Revontuli update, where an absolute ton of maps got complete population resets. So basically, I went in this video from map to map looking for what I had as initial spawns, and I got really lucky with some really good initial spawns for this video, and it was really awesome being able to take them out with the brand new weapons. And as you will see there, I did end up getting killed by the wolves, but came back and I did have my 9 legendary, and he did just make diamond at 39.04, so he makes it by 0.04. But once again, the penetration from this weapon is really impressive. However, the kill time on the wolves was less impressive. Now, wolves are class 5, so this is the max class for this weapon, but still, with penetration like that, I would have thought they would have gone down quicker. And honestly, I do have to say, I think the 45 is underpowered, especially as a wolf defense gun. I really wouldn't recommend it for self-defense against wolves. Not only because it's quite slow, especially, you know, with the reload. There's a lovely reload animation, but it takes a lot of time. And it's just a slow gun to use, or at least it felt like a slow gun to use. Of course, you have the empty chamber as well, and I found that that was frustrating. I know it's realistic, but it was frustrating when trying to use this as a self-defense weapon, because I would go to fire and then it would skip to the next round and then I'd have to fire again. And that was kind of annoying when trying to actually defend myself against wolves. But overall, like I said, the penetration was pretty good. It just takes a long time to kill the wolves. And once again, as a self-defense weapon, you want to bring the wolves down as quickly as possible, you know, instantly if you can, because you're going to be trying to not get hit by them, and if they get back up and run at you, you're going to get hit. That's going to knock health off of you. So, not great as a self-defense gun. Now, this honestly was the moment that sort of sealed this as a novelty weapon for hunting rather than as a defense gun for me. So as you will have seen, that was a vital blood splatter, and as I came to then pick up the next blood trail, it's a low bleed rate on one of those wolves. So immediately I'm thinking, that's not great. You don't want a low bleed rate when you're trying to defend yourself from something. And this was the wolf that left that blood trail. A lung, stomach, intestine and femur shot. And it ran for just about 319 meters. That could be, I'd say between 300 and 319, because I'm not sure if I picked up the blood track and then went a little bit further away, but I'd say over 300 meters. That's not good when it went through the lung. I would have expected that to bring it down a lot quicker. Okay, it wasn't the most ideal lung shot, it's clipping the back of the lung. But I don't know, I would have thought that that would have brought it down quicker than that. I do feel like the 45 is underpowered and too slow when it comes to being a defense gun. Good as a novelty hunting gun, like I said, but too slow for self-defense. Now, moving on to the weapon that I think most people are most excited about in this weapons pack, the 10mm Divani. Now, once again, we have an aggressive pack of Iberian wolves, and we're seeing how it performs on these guys. And once again, I have to say, unfortunately, I'm disappointed by the incredibly slow kill time that this weapon actually has. As a self-defense gun, once again, this does not shine in any way. Yes, it has the quick rounds and you can pop multiple rounds into these guys, but as you will see later, when I'm actually taking out another pack of wolves, even as you're sort of spamming shots, you can put two vital hits into one of these wolves and they still won't go down very quickly. And I was really disappointed by this. Now, something I do just want to mention quickly is why I'm not just spamming shots at these wolves. Now, one reason is because in Call of the Wild, you only have 2 shots before you lose a medal. So I was trying to take that into account. And also, I was trying to give the weapons as fair a chance as possible. And I wanted to, therefore, make as many vital hits as possible. I didn't want to be just spamming shots and getting flesh hits. You know, if you're wanting to bring the animals down quickly, you're going to go for vital hits. So I was trying to give them as much of a chance as possible by making vital hits to, you know, bring the animals down as quickly as possible. And I was just trying to do that, trying to give it as fair a test and as fair as they go. But in a second, I will just spam some shots at wolves just so you can see the fire rate of this gun. But overall, it's pretty disappointing. The penetration and everything is pretty good, but the kill time is where it really lacks, and I'm a bit sad about that. I'm also pretty sad about the fact that this weapon only covers classes 2 to 6. Considering what this weapon could do in real life, I feel like it could cover higher classes than that, but unfortunately that is what we have right now. Now, as I mentioned, I was just going to showcase basically spamming as many shots as possible at some of these wolves, and you'll see me making, you know, double vital hits, and it's still taking quite a while to actually bring these animals down. And once again, I just feel like this isn't a great self-defense weapon. You would be much better off using something like the Rhino, which, you know, that covers the same class, so why not use the Rhino as a self-defense weapon against, you know, the wolves rather than this? And this being a class 2 to 6 weapon, it's not good for bears, as has been mentioned in the live streams, etc. You can't use this against bears. So it's, you know, disappointing in that regard. Not that bears often attack in Call of the Wild anyway, but you can't use it against bears ethically in this game anyway, so that's unfortunate. Now, there was a lot of talk about whether this gun actually had a reflex sight, and rather than just the normal reflex sight that was already in game, there is a brand new Marksman Divani reflex sight specifically for the 10mm, and we're going to take a look at that now. So you will actually have to get this specific reflex sight, and this was something that caused some confusion because it did appear that there was no sight that would fit on this gun, but that's because what was being talked about before in the live stream, etc., was the normal reflex sight and not this specific sight. So yeah, there is a sight that goes for this, but it is the Divani reflex sight specifically. Now, with the reflex sight, you can customize the reticle shape, reticle color, reticle size, reticle opacity, lens color, and lens opacity. So now I'm just going to show you basically going through some different options and showing you what they look like. This is a really cool feature, and I'm so happy that you can customize all of this the same as you can with the normal reflex sight. That was a really cool update when they allowed us to be able to customize that, and I was really pleased to see that this is also the case with the Divani reflex sight. You've got all the different colours, and of course you can go from 0 opacity to 100 opacity on those options as well. So basically there's a lot of really cool customization for the sight that goes along with this 10mm. However, I have to say, once again, I feel like this is just a novelty gun. I don't feel like it's the best in doing its job, which is self-defense. Like I said, you may as well just use the Rhino. You know, it's got, okay, slightly different class range, but it's gonna cover wolves the same as this does and be much better at actually taking wolves down. And let's be honest, wolves are the only thing you're going to be defending yourself against in Call of the Wild. You're not going to be defending yourself against bears. If a bear attacks you, it's once in a blue moon. It's very, very rare. So you're not going to be using this against bears. And like I said, it's not ethical anyway if you were going to use it against bears. So this is just going to be a novelty hunting gun. And if you like doing handgun loadouts, you might want to use it in a handgun loadout. But as a self-defense weapon, it's not worth it in my opinion. And I think that's a huge shame. This was a gun that a ton of people were looking forward to in this particular weapon pack. And I was hoping it would do better than it actually has. And, as soon as I saw that it was only classes 2 to 6, I was concerned about what it would be like. But it does just seem underpowered compared to real life examples that I've seen of these guns actually being used. I have gone and done research about these guns in real life, and yeah, it just seems to be very underpowered, and unfortunately not the best gun for what it's listed as in its description, which is as a self-defense gun. But here you can see me taking down a level 5 reindeer, actually using the Dvani sight, and it's not too bad. It's bringing that reindeer down fairly quickly, but once again, there are better options to hunt animals like reindeer with in this game. This is why I think it's going to be a novelty gun, something that you do as a challenge loadout or for a bit of fun, but not something that's going to be a mainstay in people's loadouts. Now, this was a level 5 reindeer. Unfortunately, it was a guaranteed troll, but it did at least make a perfect test subject for shooting the Dvani with the sight on. Now, as you can see, we did get through to double lung there at 38 meters, and honestly, that penetration really isn't too bad, and it didn't do too bad against the reindeer. Still took it a little while to go down, but like I said, there are just better options for hunting an animal like this. You have to get so close with that sight to actually be able to make reliable, accurate shots. And I just think it's really unfortunate, basically. I was really looking forward to seeing how well that gun would do against things like wolves, but it just doesn't seem to perform really as well as any of us were hoping. And like I said, it'll be cool to use for challenges, but really when you're thinking about making a loadout for going and actually hunting anything with any kind of efficiency, it's really not going to be a gun that you're going to go for. Now, to finish this video off, I do have another trophy to actually take out with the 10mm, and this is a 9 legendary grey wolf that I found on Yukon Valley. Now, I spent ages on Yukon trying to get grey wolves to go aggressive, and they just wouldn't. I kept finding pack after pack, running at them, trying to get them to go aggressive, and they just kept fleeing. This was about the 5th or 6th attempt at trying to get close to this legendary and trying and hoping that he would go aggressive, and finally he did, and this was the only grey wolf out of all of the time I spent looking for grey wolves that I could get to go aggressive. Now, I feel like this clip gives you a pretty good look at the actual kill time on a grey wolf with the 10mm. It just shows you how much they still run around. There's plenty of time for them to still attack you, and that's again why I don't think this is a very good self-defense gun. Also, really creepy bug there with the grey wolf having like no eyes when dead, but just like black circles instead. Very, very creepy looking. Thankfully in the harvest screen it doesn't look like that, and as you can see, 39.02, barely a diamond again by 0.02. So I've had 2 diamond wolves that just barely made it, the Iberian earlier and then this grey wolf. But I was really happy to actually take an aggressive grey wolf with the 10mm. That was something I wanted to do, was to actually get some aggressive wolves to test this out with. And it was just unfortunate that the grey wolves didn't want to play ball and they just wouldn't go aggressive. I really don't know if their behaviour has been changed or something, but the Iberian wolves were so much more aggressive than the grey wolves. So a little bit unfortunate that I couldn't actually find some more grey wolves to actually go aggressive. I was really hoping to test the 10mm like on a whole pack of grey wolves, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. So overall, out of all of the brand new weapons, out of the 3 that we're getting in this Assorted Sidearms pack, the one that really stands out for me as making the pack worth it is the 243 Cuomo. Now, it does its job perfectly. It's exactly what you'd expect from a 243. I was honestly pretty impressed with it, and I actually liked the gun. Now, of course, it is a single shot, but then it is lightweight. So if you're wanting to incorporate it into your loadout, you're going to be able to carry more stuff if you're carrying this instead of the 243 rifle. However, if you're, able to make a loadout that incorporates the normal 243 rifle that you get at the very start of the game, then you don't necessarily need this. It's not a need, but it's a nice thing to have, in my opinion. But then again, like I said, it is a single shot, so you do lose out in that aspect, but you gain in the fact that it's a lightweight weapon. But then there are plenty of people that just carry a tent and swap weapons like that, so the weight of their loadout really doesn't make a difference. So whether this weapon pack is worth it necessarily is going to be up to you as an individual. I like the guns, but like I said, the 10mm and the 45 aren't going to be, in my opinion, main loadout guns. That's just my opinion, and I may be completely wrong. You may watch this video and come to a completely different assessment of those two weapons than I have. But in my opinion, at least, I don't see everybody changing their loadouts to incorporate these guns. Maybe the 243 Cuomo, because I really like it and it's definitely something different and it does seem to do its job really, really well. So maybe that one might get included in people's loadouts fairly regularly. But in terms especially of the 45 and the 10mm, I just don't see them being regularly used weapons. So is this weapon pack a must-have? That depends on you and your opinion. Some people, of course, are going to want this weapons pack immediately just so that they can have the weapons in this weapons pack. The 243, in my opinion, does make it worth it. I would say that that's worth it to pick up, especially seeing as we know that the DLCs like this are always extremely cheap, they're extremely affordable. So I would say that that alone probably makes it worth picking up. But once again, that's entirely my opinion, and I hope that this video has given you an idea of what these new weapons are like. I've tried to be as fair as possible and give a fair assessment on all of them. Like I said, the 243 is definitely the best one in this weapons pack in my opinion. And yeah, I just hope that you have enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. That is going to be it for this video. And like I said, I just really hope that this might help you make a decision on whether you want to buy this weapons pack or not. But like I said, that is going to be it for this one. So thank you so much for watching and for all your support as always. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you.